most cleaners have a standard set of equipment. They will have a vacuum cleaner, an auto scrubber, maybe a floor machine, maybe even a burnisher. That's pretty much standard. But vacuum cleaning is one of the perhaps most dreaded things for a couple of reasons. And it's got nothing to do with actually vacuuming. It's got to do with the disposal of the stuff that you pick up through the vacuum cleaner. So when we're vacuuming, what are we doing? We're picking up dirt and debris that may be completely harmless, like dust that's, collects in various places. You could also be collecting stuff that's harmful. Imagine you're at a construction site and picking up dirt. You don't really know what's in there most of the time, but it could be anything from fine silica dust to concrete dust to sawdust to big debris. So you don't know really what you're picking up, but it could be some stuff that's harmful. Or let's say you're cleaning an apartment building which has a lot of, let's say, infestation. The stuff you're picking up could be dead animals. It could be their droppings. It could be poisons used to kill those animals. So you don't really know what you're picking up. And then the third category of stuff is really the stuff you don't know. When you're cleaning, you could be picking up all kinds of stuff that you just don't know. And as a consequence, one of the things that people find perhaps most disturbing is having to dispose of the stuff they've collected, because no matter how much you try, a vacuum cleaner's canister is going to fill up. And once it fills up, it has to be emptied. And emptying that dreaded canister is something that people hate to do. And because they don't know what's inside and because they don't like touching that stuff. Kind of like at home. I don't mind doing the vacuuming, but do I want to clean the vacuum cleaner? Not always. But you have to. You have to. At least that way, at home it's in a controlled environment. But when you're cleaning somebody else's space, whether it's a construction site, an office building, an apartment building, and you don't necessarily know what you're picking up, you have to be careful about how you handle the stuff that you're throwing out. Now, most people will take their canister vacuum, drag it over to a dumpster, and tip that canister into that dumpster. So while most of that garbage is going into the dumpster, what tends to happen is the fine dust particles and all will get airborne and all around you. So the floors you may just have cleaned will get dusty again. The space around the dumpster will be dirty again. And you'll also probably get dust and dirt on yourself, on your clothes and on your skin. So that's one of the things that most people dread doing, is dealing with disposing that garbage. And of course, the corollary to that is that the fine particles that are collected by a vacuum cleaner may actually be coming back out into the air. And you're breathing that in. And that could also be very dangerous, because things like silica dust, concrete dust can actually cause breathing issues, can damage your lungs, and have really serious long-term effects on your health. So that's one of the other big challenges that people have, is dealing with the fine particles that are generated in the vacuuming process. So after you've disposed of the contents of your canister, one more thing is left, having to clean the canister itself. Because all the dirt's been sitting in there. You really, again, because you don't know what it is, you really have to be careful when cleaning that. So wearing appropriate PPE, making sure your hands have got gloves, and cleaning that tank. Now, most people will ignore cleaning the tank just because it's so tedious and it's unsafe and uncomfortable. And so that's the last piece that causes the set of problems that we have with vacuuming. It's the fine dust in the air, it's disposing of the contents of the vacuum cleaner, and it's actually cleaning the vacuum tank after you're done vacuuming. As I've mentioned before, the problems associated with vacuuming, which is fine particles that are airborne, it's the toxic materials potentially that you have to handle, and the cleaning of the tank. These are all important because ultimately they affect three major things. The primary of them being your health. I've mentioned this before, breathing in fine dusts, handling toxins can actually have detrimental long-term impact on your health. So you certainly want to manage that. The second, the factor to consider is motivation. Nobody really wants to clean that vacuum cleaner because it is unsafe and uncomfortable and unhealthy. And thirdly is efficiency and effectiveness. Just imagine you finished vacuuming a big floor, you go and you dump that canister in the dumpster, and the dust flies back out. The floors you've just finished cleaning are dirty again. So you're certainly not being as efficient as you can be. And then also the whole act of moving the machine to the dumpster, dumping out your garbage, cleaning the tank takes time. And labor is expensive. It's also strenuous on your body. So at Centaur, we have recognized that these problems are serious problems and have worked hard to find solutions for them. And through our FALCON-5, we have introduced two unique features that help address these issues head-on. The first one is that the FALCON-5 has a direct-to-garbage bag deposit system. So when you're vacuuming dry, anything you pick up goes straight into a heavy-duty garbage bag. All you have to do to dispose of it is to take off the motor head, pull out the bag, tie it, take that bag, which is now sealed, to the dumpster and throw it out. So there's no handling of the materials that have gone in the tank. The tank stays clean and the dust is contained. You're throwing a full bag that's sealed into the dumpster. So it makes life much easier. So that takes care of handling of the potentially toxic and harmful materials and the recirculation of the dust that comes out when you're dumping the stuff. So an example of using this direct-to-garbage bag disposal system is a property manager that runs maybe 12 older buildings that are subsidized housing. And because of their age of those buildings, they tend to have a lot more infestation of mice, of cockroaches, ants, etc. So their pest control team is doing a fantastic job of laying out the right kinds of poisons and traps to kill these animals. The problem is, in the process of getting there, the property manager is left with having to dispose of dead animals, their droppings, and the poisons that those animals may have moved around their buildings. And they have to make sure they do that regularly because there are people living in there. And the problem is that none of their staff want to actually handle those materials. And what vacuum cleaner are they going to use? The FALCON-5 was the perfect answer to their questions, because what they were able to do was, by using that direct-to-garbage bag deposit system, they were able to pick up the dead animals, their droppings, the poisons, all directly into a garbage bag, which then all they had to do was tie it up and throw it out. So nobody actually had to handle this potentially harmful and toxic material and content. The second element of the design in the FALCON-5 is introduction of a large capacity HEPA filter. And what that does is, as you're picking up the dirt, and that could be, dust from a construction site, whether it's saw cuts in concrete or whether you're maybe grinding a marble countertop, or it's sawdust from the millwork that somebody is doing on the construction site. All that stuff produces fine dusts. Those fine dusts are not only captured by the initial filter, but having a HEPA filter ensures that any of the finer particles stay contained. Things like silica and other materials that are very fine stay contained and don't come back into the air, so you're not breathing these things in. So by having the HEPA filter and having a direct-to-garbage bag deposit system, we're trying to reduce and make easier the life of the guys who have to ultimately use that vacuum cleaner, dispose of the contents, and clean it. So to reiterate, vacuuming various types of sites, whether it's construction sites, office buildings, industrial facilities, apartment buildings, etc., can be problematic because of the nature of the materials we're picking up. They could be harmful, sometimes we don't even know, and we have to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and from long-term effects of breathing in harmful materials or handling harmful materials. There's a problem of disposal, and there's a problem of cleaning the vacuum cleaner afterwards. So the importance of introducing methods by which these things are made easy is, the first and most critical is that it reduces the risk of long-term health impacts on your team. By using equipment that contains the dust, that allows for easy disposal, that means that we don't have to handle this toxic material, means that we are reducing the risk of long-term impacts on our health. The second thing is that it it's easy. And why do we care? Because the staff will be more motivated to do the work when they know that it's hassle-free. It means that they're straining their backs less. They're not carrying large tanks to dump stuff they can take out of the garbage bag. They're not handling dirty material. It's easy to clean up afterwards. That kind of ease of use or hassle-free use motivates people to do the work that they need to do. And then thirdly, it's also more efficient. You're spending less time cleaning the tank, less time disposing the materials, less time redoing work. And more efficiency means labor savings, which means money in your pocket.